Hey everyone, it's Brandy and welcome back to my channel. So I already filmed this and my camera cut off after like almost 3 minutes of filming. So this is try number 2. Hopefully we don't have to do this again. Anyway, this is the kickoff of my another week full of videos. Today I am going to be starting with my December wrap up. Just as a quick notice, I am trying to bulk film today, so I'm trying to get all my videos for the week filmed today, so I don't have to worry about trying to get that done throughout the week. So I am going to, if I get that done, I'm going to have on the same thing for all of my videos because I'm one of those people who does not change. So yeah, just FYI in case I do get all of that done. Anyway, I have 10 books to talk about today, so let's just get into it. Like I've started doing recently, I'm going to start with my lowest rated book, which was a book I gave 2 out of 5 stars to, and that is Surprise Package by Kara Blakely. This one follows this girl who accidentally ends up in a strip club thinking it's an escort service, and she is there to basically hire a guy to come home with her for Christmas and pretend to be her fiance. Her mom wants her to go to law school and she wants to quit to pursue her art, so she figures if she hires a guy to come home and pretend to be her fiance, that could be her excuse to quit school. I kind of enjoyed like the story and the romance that happened between the main female and male character. I kind of enjoyed seeing how they got to know each other throughout this time when they was going to visit her mom, and basically how it all progressed. But besides that, I honestly didn't really like the story. I felt like things between the two of them happened way too fast. Then also I didn't like her mother, and it was another side character that appeared. I don't even know. I don't even want to get into it because it was just like a lot of things that I was just like, I really don't care for. And the only saving grace for this book was because of I liked seeing the two of these characters really get to know each other. The next section of books is the books that I gave a 3.5 stars to, and the first of those was In the Midst of Winter by Isabel Allende. This book follows 3 different characters. We follow Richard Bowmaster, Evelyn Ortega, and Lucia Meraz. And these are 3 very different characters. They come from 3 very different backgrounds, and they end up coming together because in the midst of a blizzard, Richard ends up getting into an accident with Evelyn, and he gives her his business card so she can call insurance people, to get everything all worked out. But in the middle of the night, she ends up showing up at his house, and she's not responding to him when he's trying to figure out why she's there. So he ends up bringing up his colleague slash neighbor because the lady lives in his basement apartment of his house, but that is Lucia, the third character. He asks her to come up to try to figure out what's wrong and why this lady is here. So the 3 of them come together because of the situation, and the story basically takes off from there. There is something that happens, which I'm not going to talk about because it isn't brought up in the synopsis, that causes the 3 of them to end up staying together for a lot longer than would be expected out of this situation, which was the whole reason why Evelyn showed up at Richard's apartment. And this causes the 3 of them to become intertwined and like really get to know each other throughout the story. So my favorite part about this book was getting to learn or read about the backgrounds of each of these characters. So each of them come from really different backgrounds. Like I mentioned, Richard, I believe he's from the US, but he ends up moving to Brazil and spending some time in Brazil when he got married, and because of certain circumstances he ended up coming back. And then we have Evelyn, who is from Guatemala, and she is illegally in the US. She crossed the borders because of her own situation, and we get to learn more about that. And then Lucia is from Chile, and of course, like the other 2, she has her own things that happened in her past which led her to be where she is now. And my favorite part was getting to read more about their backgrounds. It took me a minute to get into this. I was enjoying it, but I felt like it was just taking a lot out of me to read, and I just felt like I read this at the wrong time in my life. So this is definitely a book that I would want to revisit in the future when I'm a little older, and maybe I have been through more things in life where I can possibly connect to these characters. And the next book that I gave a 3.5 stars to was Shacking Up by Helena Hunting. This one follows a girl named Ruby Scott, and she is struggling to find a consistent job, but she has this really big audition coming up because she is an actress. So she has this audition coming up, but the day before her audition, she goes to her best friend's engagement party where she ends up kissing some random guy, and the next morning she wakes up really sick and she ends up blowing her audition. So the other perspective in this story is Bancroft, who is the guy who actually kissed Ruby, and after finding out that he was kind of the cause of her messing up her audition and some other things that resulted from that, he decides to help her out in the form of giving her a job taking care of his pets. He's about to leave out of the country on a 5-week business trip, and he has a pet that is technically illegal. He has a ferret and he has a tarantula, I believe. So he invites her to move into his house and take care of his pets, and he's gonna pay her for that, and she has a place to stay while he's doing that, and she has the time to look for another apartment and find a job or get an audition while he is gone on his business trip. So this is the first book technically in a series, and I read the second book, which is Hooking Up, a few months ago, I believe, or a couple months ago, and I kind of wish I would have read this one first because I feel like I might have enjoyed it more. But after reading that one and going back to this one, I didn't enjoy this one as much as I enjoyed Hooking Up. For the most part, I really liked how from the beginning of the book up until right before he came home was set up. I really enjoy getting to see characters that are obviously eventually going to get together. I like to see the progression of their relationship and how they really choose to get to know each other. And because Bancroft was out of the country for so long, they really had to get to know each other, and it ended up going from just doing updates about the pets to talking almost every night, if not every night. So I really enjoyed seeing that. But from the moment he got back, I felt like things just happened way too fast, because I believe maybe the 75% of the book took place while he was gone. So we got to the last quarter and we had to kind of sum up the story, and now he's back. So everything just happened way too fast for me. And then something happened, and Ruby jumped to conclusions, and it was just like a big mess, and I didn't enjoy that part of it. But like I said, for the most part, enjoyed the story, and I definitely will be checking out more from this author. So moving on to the next section, I am now going to talk about my 4-star reads, which I believe is the biggest section out of the ones that I have. So the first 4-star read I had was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by Newt Scamander, or J.K. Rowling, really. This is basically the textbook version of Fantastic Beasts. It's not the screenplay or anything. And this one, just for the most part, has the list of creatures, their classification, and then some more information about them. And then at the beginning, there is like some background information on what a beast is, and it's just information that you would expect to find in a textbook. I enjoyed this. It was kind of what I was expecting it to be. The next couple books I'm going to talk about together, but the first one is High School Debut Volume 1 by Kusune Kawahara. And I read this one and I enjoyed it because, like I said, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. So I decided that I wanted to continue on with this series. So I went ahead and picked up High School Debut, the 3-in-1 editions. So this one contains volumes 1 through 3. I picked this one up from Amazon right after I finished reading this one. So I read this one and I decided to stick with my 4-star rating for the first volume for the other 2 as well. The series so far for this was really cute, kind of predictable, but it was still really enjoyable. I have talked about this one, but just in case you guys didn't hear, this one follows this girl named Haruna, and she has just gone into high school, and in middle school all she really cared about was softball and reading comics. But now that she's in high school, she really wants to get her first boyfriend, but she just has not been having any luck with that. So one day she runs into this guy named Yo, which is the guy that's, on the front cover with her. And somehow she convinces him to be her love coach in order to help her get her first boyfriend. And like I said, it was just really cute, and I am enjoying this series so far. And the last book that I gave a 4 out of 5 stars to was Food Wars Volume 20 by Yuta Sakuda. I can't really talk about this one just because it is so far into the series and I don't want to give anything away. Usually with Food Wars, I kind of flip-flop back and forth between a 4 and a 5 stars. I gave this one a 4 stars because this was one of the volumes that was kind of a setup. It kind of was the tail end of something like one of the big events, and it was kind of just the bridge between one big event and the next big event. So by the end of this one, the characters are setting up for the second year advancement exams. So like I said, this was kind of just a bridge one. It was enjoyable, but there wasn't a whole lot that happened. Moving on to the next section, I only have one book to talk about, and I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. That is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling. This is the 3rd book in the Harry Potter series. I went into this I was kind of hesitant because this was I think this was like my favorite movie out of all of them. And because this one was my favorite movie, I remember a lot about it. So it was really hard to kind of distance myself from the movie. And I went into it thinking I wasn't going to enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the movie, but I was wrong. I did have a problem, like I said, with distancing myself from the movie because as I was reading, I'm like, well, that's not how that happened. That's not how that happened. But then, in the back of my mind, I was also like, well, this came out first, obviously, and the book or the movie had to change things in order to fit within a certain time frame. So it was nice seeing, how this all played out, and I really enjoyed this, and I cannot wait to continue on with the series. So the last 2 books that I have to talk about are my 5-star reads, and these are actually both part of the same series, but that is Midsummer, the 2-in-1 edition, Volume 1 and Volume 2. These were technically rereads for me because I am going to collect physical editions of the series, and I, decided to read them once I got them. I really enjoyed them, and I can't wait to continue on. Gave both of these a 5 out of 5 stars, just mostly out of nostalgia, but I really, really enjoy this series, and I just love them so much. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about these. So those were all the books that I read in December. Let me know what you guys read. I mean, it's kind of late. We're already a week into, we're already like the 2nd week into January, but just in case, let me know what you guys read in December, and if you've read any of these, let me know what you thought about them. That's all I have for this video, and I will see you throughout the rest of the week with more videos. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.